It begins not with a scream, but with a shiver. A subtle, treacherous betrayal of your own blood that you dismiss as the evening chill. You are standing in the threshold of your home, the heavy oak door pressed against your back, trying to catch your breath. Outside, the narrow cobblestone streets of London are vanishing into a soup of gray fog, but the air does not smell of rain. It smells of burning rosemary, rotting flowers, and the acrid, inescapable stench of fear. You tell yourself you are just tired. You tell yourself it is just the fatigue of a long day at the Guildhall. But deep in the pit of your stomach, a primal instinct screams a truth your mind refuses to accept. You are already a ghost. The clock has started ticking, and you have exactly 72 hours left to breathe. You lock the door. The sound of the iron bolt sliding home usually brings comfort, a barrier against the thieves and the night. But tonight, it feels like the lid of a coffin sliding into place. You look at your hands. They are trembling. Not from cold, but from a heat rising from the marrow of your bones. A subterranean fire that is slowly stoking itself. You walk toward the hearth, where your wife is stirring a pot of pottage. The firelight dances on her face, warm and familiar. She looks up and smiles, but you flinch. You step back. You cannot let her touch you. You know the rumors that have traveled up from the ports of Southampton and Bristol. They say the pestilence travels by sight, by breath, by the mere brush of a sleeve. To love her in this moment is to kill her. You retreat to the corner of the room, claiming a headache. It is a lie, and yet it is not. A dull throb begins behind your eyes, rhythmic and heavy, like the footsteps of a giant approaching from a great distance. You sit on a wooden stool, the rough grain digging into your palms, and you try to map out the last few days. Where did you slip? Was it the coin you took from the stranger at the market? Was it the stray dog that brushed against your leg in the alleyway? Or was it simply the air itself? The physicians say it is the miasma, a corruption of the atmosphere caused by the misalignment of Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They say the air has turned poisonous. You take a shallow breath, testing the theory. The air in your home feels thick, heavy, suffocating. Hour 6 arrives with the brutality of a hammer blow. The shivering has evolved into violent convulsions. You are freezing, your teeth clattering together with a sound that seems deafening in the quiet house, yet your skin is burning to the touch. You have wrapped yourself in wool blankets, but the ice is inside you. Your wife approaches, concern etched into her brow, holding a cup of watered wine. You shout at her to stay back. The harshness in your voice startles her, and the hurt in her eyes cuts you deeper than the fever. But you must be cruel to be kind. You retreat to the solitary confinement of the back room, collapsing onto the straw mattress. This is where the isolation begins. The world has shrunk to the four walls of this dim chamber and the ceiling beams that seem to be descending to crush you. As you lie there, the city outside begins its nightly ritual. But it is not the London you know. There is no drunken laughter from the taverns, no song of the night watchman. There is only the rhythmic, hollow clanging of the church bells. St. Paul's, St. Mary-le-Bow, St. Bride's. They are not ringing for Mass. They are ringing the death knell. A continuous, droning sorrow that never ceases, because the bodies are piling up faster than the sextons can dig the graves. You close your eyes, trying to block out the sound, but the fever brings hallucinations. The shadows in the corner of the room lengthen and twist into shape-stall figures in dark robes, the specter of the great mortality itself waiting for its due. By the 12th hour, the pain shifts. It is no longer just a fever. It is a focused, agonizing pressure in your groin and under your armpits. You are terrified to look. To look is to confirm the sentence. You lie in the dark, sweat soaking through your linen shift, praying to a God who seems to have abandoned England. You bargain with the Almighty. You promise to go on a pilgrimage to Canterbury. You promise to give half your wealth to the church. You promise to never sin again. But the pressure grows. a hard, hot knot of agony that feels as though a stone is being forced through your flesh from the inside out. Finally, the dawn breaks, gray and joyless. You summon the courage to look. With trembling fingers, you lift your shift. There, in the crease of your groin, sits the mark of the beast, a swelling the size of a common apple, angry and hard. It is not red, but a dark, bruised purple, bordering on black. The bubo, the token of the plague. A silent scream rises in your throat, but dies before it reaches your lips. The denial is gone. The hope is extinguished. You are no longer a man. You are a statistic. You are one of the thousands who have been marked for erasure. The psychological weight of this discovery is heavier than the physical pain. It is the shame. In this time, sickness is not just biology. It is theology. It is a judgment. What secret sin have you committed to deserve this? Why has the arrow of divine wrath found your heart and missed the neighbor who cheats on his scales? You pull the blanket up, hiding the deformity, hiding your shame. You hear the morning sounds of your family stirring, the innocence of their routine, the scraping of a pot, the sweeping of the floors, heartbreaking. They are planning for a tomorrow that you will not see. Hour 18 brings a new torture, thirst. An unquenchable desert thirst that makes your tongue feel like sandpaper and your throat like a chimney full of soot. You crawl to the pitcher of water you brought in the night before. You drink, but the water tastes metallic, vile. Your body is rejecting the very essence of life. You vomit, a violent, retching purge that leaves you gasping on the floor. The contents are dark, bilious, wrong. The humors of your body are in chaotic revolt. The blood itself is boiling, turning thick and black in your veins, clotting and starving your organs of the life they need. You realize you must make arrangements. You cannot die without a will, without confession. But who will come to you? The priests are dying as fast as the laymen. Those who remain are often too terrified to enter the homes of the infected. You are trapped in a paradox. You need salvation, but your condition makes you an untouchable. You consider shouting out the window to a passerby to fetch a notary, but you fear the Red Cross. If the authorities know, they will paint the Red Cross on your door. Lord, have mercy upon us. They will board up the house, trapping your wife and children inside with you, condemning them to the same slow, suffocating death. You cannot do that. You must die in secret to save them. As the 24th hour approaches, the delirium sets in. The line between sleep and wakefulness dissolves. You are walking through a field of black lilies, but the lilies are the faces of your friends, your business partners, the baker, the smith. They are all silent, their mouths sewn shut. You wake with a start, your heart hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. The room is spinning. The sun has moved across the floorboards, marking the passage of time you can no longer afford to waste. You try to stand, but your legs are like water. You collapse back onto the straw. The buboes are spreading. You feel new swellings on your neck, under your jaw. They are choking you. Outside, the sound of a cart rattling over the stones draws near. Bring out your dead, a voice calls, flat and devoid of emotion. It is the sound of the New World Order. A world where grief has been exhausted, replaced by a numb efficiency. You hold your breath, praying the cart does not stop at your door. Not yet. You are not ready to be a nameless shape under a rough cloth. You are a father. You are a husband. You are a man of London. You fight the darkness creeping at the edges of your vision. You must last another hour. You must find a way to say goodbye without saying the words. The first day is over. The fever has claimed your body, but the battle for your soul and the safety of those you love has only just begun. The second day does not dawn. It simply bleeds into existence through the cracks in the shutters. You wake, or perhaps you simply stop dreaming, to a smell that assaults your senses. It is sweet, cloying, and utterly repulsive. It takes a moment for your fever-addled brain to trace the source, and when you do, a fresh wave of horror washes over you. The smell is coming from your own body. You are rotting from the inside out. The corruption has spread from the buboes into your blood, turning the fluids of life into a poisonous sludge. You try to sit up, but the room tilts violently. The simple act of lifting your head requires a Herculean effort. As if gravity itself has intensified, pulling you down into the earth before you are even dead. Your wife is at the door again. Her voice is muffled, trembling. She asks if you are hungry. She has made broth. The mere mention of food makes your stomach convulse. Leave it. You croak, your voice unrecognizably dry, rasping sound like leaves dragging over stone. Do not come in. You hear her stifled sob on the other side of the wood. It breaks your heart more than the pestilence destroys your body. You are starving her of comfort to save her from death. It is the only act of love left to you. You crawl to the door, pressing your forehead against the cool wood, listening to her footsteps retreat. You are the captain of a sinking ship, listening to the ocean rush in. Hour 30 brings a new, terrifying symptom. The cough. It starts as a tickle in your chest, a feather's touch, but quickly transforms into a violent, racking spasm that tears at your ribcage. You cover your mouth with a rag, and when you pull it away, you see it. Bright, foamy red, spittle mixed with blood. The pestilence has breached the sanctuary of your lungs. Now, every breath is a labor, a shallow gasp through a drowning chest. You realize with a sinking clarity that you are now a weapon. Every cough sprays the invisible seeds of death into the air. The room itself is becoming a gas chamber. You pull the blankets tighter, shivering uncontrollably, trapping the poison with you. In a desperate bid for relief, you turn to the folklore of the desperate. You have no crushed emeralds to swallow, no theriac treacle from the apothecaries of Venice. You have only vinegar and despair. You soak a rag in the sour wine you kept by the bed and wash your neck, your armpits, your groin. The stinging is sharp, focusing your mind for a fleeting moment. You recall the whispers in the marketplace that a dried toad placed on the swelling draws out the poison. You laugh, a wet, gurgling sound. How foolish the wisdom of man seems when faced with the wrath of nature. There are no toads here. There is only the heat, the pain, and the shadows that seem to detach themselves from the walls and watch you with empty eyes. By the 36th hour, the pain in the buboes is blinding. They have hardened into stones of agony. The pressure is so intense, you feel as though your skin is about to burst. You consider taking your knife, the small iron blade you use for cutting fruit, and lancing the boil yourself. You have heard that letting the bad humors out can save a man. You grip the handle, your knuckles white, steeling yourself against the pain. You bring the cold metal to the hot, tight skin. But your hand shakes too violently. You cannot do it. The knife clatters to the floor, echoing like a gunshot in the silent room. You weep not from sadness, but from pure, unadulterated frustration. You are a prisoner in your own flesh. Night falls again, the second night of your captivity. The fever spikes to dangerous heights. This is the hour of the phantoms. The room dissolves. You are no longer in your humble home in London. You are walking through a vast, scorched landscape. The sky is the color of a bruise. You see a procession of figures whipping themselves the flagellants. You hear their chanting, a low, rhythmic drone. Penance, penance for the sins of the world. They turn to look at you, and they have no faces, only smooth, blank skin. You scream at them to help you, but no sound comes out. You wake up thrashing, tangled in your sweat-soaked sheets, shouting a name that no one answers. It is hour 42 when you discover the tokens of God. You are changing your shirt, moving with the slow, jerky movements of a marionette when you see them on your chest and arms. Dark, purple blotches. Not swellings, but bruises that have bloomed like dark poppies under your skin. the hemorrhaging has become subcutaneous. In the medical treatises of the East and West, these spots are the final signature of the death warrant. They mean the end is not days away, but hours. A strange calm settles over you. The anxiety of "will I survive?" evaporates, replaced by the heavy, cold certainty of "how will I die?" You drag yourself to the window and crack the shutter just an inch. You need to see the world one last time. Below, the street is unrecognizable. Bonfires are burning at the intersections, fed with aromatic woodspine, cedar, anything to purge the air. The smoke drifts up, mingling with the fog. You see a door across the street painted with a large white cross, not red-white. The House of the Dead, a family entirely wiped out. A dog wanders aimlessly, sniffing at a bundle of rags left in the gutter. It is a scene from the apocalypse, painted in gray and orange. You realize that your death will be a small, unnoticed event in a catastrophe that is consuming civilization. As the 48th hour approaches, your mind begins to fracture completely. The barrier between past and present collapses. You are a child again, running through the fields of your grandfather's farm. You can smell the hay, feel the sun on your back. It is so real, so vivid. Then, abruptly, you are back in the room, the smell of rot choking you. The oscillation between these two worlds is exhausting. You are tired. So incredibly tired. Your heart flutters in your chest, an erratic, struggling rhythm. It is fighting a losing battle against the thick, blackened blood clogging your veins. You hear a scratching at the door. Is it the cat? Or is it the death watch beetle, ticking away the seconds of your life? You try to pray, but the Latin words tangle in your mouth. Pater, noster, ... qui es, incaelis, ... The words feel empty, hollow shells. Does God hear the prayers of a rotting man? Or has he turned his face away from this cursed island? You close your eyes, and for a moment, you see a light. Not the light of heaven, but the fiery fever dream of a world burning. You have survived 2 days, but the final descent is about to begin. The body is defeated. The spirit must face the final darkness. The 3rd day brings a strange, terrifying mercy. The pain begins to recede. It is not because you are healing, but because your body is surrendering. The nerves, screamed out and exhausted, can no longer transmit the signals of agony. You lie motionless on the straw mattress, which is now soaked and stained with the fluids of your dissolution. You look at your hands resting on your chest. The fingertips are turning black, a necrosis spreading like ink through water. This is the sign that gave this horror its name, the Black Death. You are watching your own extremities die while you are still breathing. Time has lost its meaning. There is no sunrise or sunset, only the gray fluctuation of the shadows in the room. You drift in a twilight state, a purgatory between the living and the dead. You are conscious, but distant. You feel like a passenger in a vessel that is breaking apart on the rocks. You hear the breathing of the house, the creak of the timbers, the rustle of the thatch, and it sounds like the heartbeat of a giant. Your own heart, however, is a fluttering, weak bird, struggling against the sludge that fills your veins. Hour 60. The thirst is gone. The hunger is gone. There is only a profound coldness starting at your feet and creeping upward. It is the chill of the grave, claiming its territory inch by inch. You try to call out to your wife, to tell her you love her, to tell her to run far away from this accursed city, but your tongue is a swollen black stone in your mouth. You can only make a low, rasping sound. Suddenly, the door creaks open. A beam of light cuts through the darkness, blindingly bright. It is her. Against your orders, against all reason and safety, she has entered. She holds a cloth soaked in cool water. She does not look at the buboes, the black spots, or the blood. She looks only at your eyes. In a world gone mad, where fathers abandon sons and priests abandon flocks, she has chosen to cross the line of death for you. She wipes your brow. The touch is electric, the last sensation of humanity you will ever feel. You want to push her away, to save her, but you are too weak. Tears leak from your eyes, hot tracks on cold skin. It is a silent apology. It is a silent goodbye. She sits by you as the hours bleed away, whispering prayers, humming a lullaby she used to sing to the children. Her voice is the anchor keeping you from drifting into the void too soon. But the darkness is rising. It pools in the corners of your vision, narrowing the world down to a single point. Her face, hour 68. The internal hemorrhaging is catastrophic. Your organs are shutting down one by one. The lungs, filled with fluid, can no longer draw air. You are drowning on dry land. The panic should be overwhelming, but your brain is too starved of oxygen to feel fear. There is only a heavy, crushing weight on your chest. The hallucinations return for one final performance. The room is filled with people your ancestors, long dead, standing in a circle around the bed. They are not scary. They are waiting. They extend their hands. The line between the tangible world and the spiritual realm has dissolved completely. Hour 71. The rattling in your chest becomes a rhythmic death rattle. It is the sound of the soul fighting to detach from the ruin of the flesh. Your vision goes gray, then black. You can no longer see your wife, but you can feel her hand gripping yours, a lifeline you must let go of. The cold has reached your heart. The beating slows. Thump, ... Thump. The silence that follows is deafening. The 72nd hour strikes. You are gone. The struggle is over. The fear is extinguished. You have become part of the history of the earth. Your body is not placed in a coffin. There is no time, and there is no wood left. You are wrapped in the linen sheet you died in, the very shroud of your suffering. Two men, their faces covered in bird-like masks filled with herbs, carry you out. The street is quiet. The cart is full. You are placed gently atop a pile of strangers, a merchant, a beggar, a noble woman. In death, the plague has created the equality that life never could. You are taken to the edge of the city, to a great pit dug into the clay. There is no individual stone to mark your name. You are buried with hundreds of others, a mass of humanity returned to the soil. It seems like the end of the world. It seems like the story of mankind has finished, but it has not. From the ashes of your death and the death of 25 million others, a new world will rise. Because labor is so scarce, the survivors will demand better wages. The bonds of serfdom will break. The blind faith in old institutions will crack, paving the way for the questions of the Renaissance, for the science of the future. Your death was a tragedy, yes, but it was also the turning point that forced humanity to adapt, to learn, and to survive. You were a victim of the darkness, but you are also the reason the light of the modern world began to shine.